How come my thing's not doing it? Oh, I got it. 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 Sorry.
That's kind of scary.
Do you have like an echo?
Well, no, it's because she had her audio for YouTube on still.
Okay. Yeah, but I kept repeating.
Yeah, when the audio's on, it like
and then it caught it,
loops.
and then it
Oh,
creates
yeah,
like a
yeah,
loop.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Coming out of the computer, I get it.
Hanging out on a scary night of the week. To be more specific, it's Halloween. We have some ideas, some tricks, some treats. Come along and join us. We'll be killing the
Ten seconds.
All right.
Yeah, that was great, Connor.
Thanks. Well, welcome to Spilling the Beans, and we changed the title a little bit tonight to Killing the Beans because it's Halloween. Yeah. I think that's Kaylee. Is it your favorite?
Spooky.
Your favorite holiday?
Yeah, definitely.
You like Halloween?
I love it.
Abel?
Yeah. I've liked it more so as of late.
Oh, nice.
I was never really big into it.
Yeah.
And then probably in like 2019, I started like working in like Salem, and I kind of found a real love for it.
That is so it's more of a recent thing for you.
You too, no? Kind of?
No. I as a kid I was always let down by it. And then I think my sister shares the same sentiment. Like it was always like it's fun. It's supposed to be fun dressing up and stuff like that, you know. But there was kind of this expectation, you know, especially when other kids. For me, it was this expectation. Well, I really wanted to be a Power Ranger, so mom had
Oh, right.
my mom had no idea what a Power Ranger. Well, she had an idea of what they looked like, but she wrapped me up in sheets and made me look kind of like a ninja. And for the mask, I wanted to be the White Ranger. For the mask, she got a Jason mask and then used permanent marker and did the black end part
Okay.
on that.
Sounds pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
And I even said that night, I was like, "Good job, Mom. This is good, better than I could have done." You know, so it was great. And then I went in the next day, and this kid, Victor Andrade, I think it's safe to say his name. I'm sure he's cool now, but he showed up with like the legitimate Green Ranger like helmet.
Right.
It even like clipped off, and I swear made like a gas noise when it clipped off, like an uncompression.
man.
He had like the perfect like suit. He had the flute and the dagger kind of thing. He looked amazing. He looked like the actual Green Ranger. And I did not look like the White Ranger. To my mother's efforts, like when I was like, I went to the bathroom right away and looked in the mirror to see like how I looked. And I was like, well, no, but I thought it looked cool still. I was like, I still look cool.
Could have said you're
Like
Jason as a ninja.
Well, yeah. But I didn't also know who Jason was. This was like second grade. So then there was a judgment part, you know, where like the teachers line up and they judge you.
Oh,
Which
yeah, like
I
costume
think-
contest.
Yeah, costume contest, which, you know, every kid should kind of get
An award.
some kind of award or, you know, I mean, and the kids should vote,
Yeah.
not the teacher, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
And then if another kid seems to not get some, you know what I mean? There should just be a better way than they did it. But when it came to me, they like all were like, "Oh, what are you supposed to be? Like some kind of like serial killer or something?" It was the first time I heard that word. Jason. They mentioned Jason or And I was like,
And
I'm
it's
the
weird
White
'cause, like,
Ranger.
it's clearly like just a homemade costume. So
Yeah.
like, why wouldn't you encourage that?
Yeah.
You know, as like teachers. It's
So
really
exactly,
weird.
yeah. Like creative, you know. My mom was so creative with that, and she had such good like energy for it. And so yeah, that put me off of Halloween. For you know, I think I was disappointed other years too. When I got older, I loved it. My friend Goodwin and I would do pranks, TP things. We'd go nuts. Yeah. You know, that was fun. That was in the more reckless years. But yeah, no, I'm not a huge Fall fan as well. Fan of the Fall. And so, you know, but now that I'm older, I'm appreciating things a little more. Halloween, definitely. Like I realized we were talking outside, like some of my favorite movies are horror movies, you know, not because they're horror movies, but
I had a similar experience. So Halloween was also kind of ruined for me for a while, which is why I didn't catch on to it later on. But so this was maybe first year of high school, maybe, and I was dating a girl who will remain nameless, and it might have been second year, I can't remember, but we went out for Halloween.
it was freshman year. I know what you're talking about.
Okay. We went out for Halloween, and I had to get a costume, and I wanted to be Batman, you know, so I got a Batman costume, and when I put it on, it was one of those ones that had like all fake muscles.
Yeah.
So like you can't move in this thing. Like you're just all like these pillowy, like
It's
you
like
know.
Carl Havoc.
Yeah.
I think you should leave sketch.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's too much shit on me.
There's too much shit on me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the head off. You know?
Yeah.
You know? Too much fucking shit on me. So I picked that one,
Right.
and it was many sizes too large for me. I was a pretty thin kid.
Big muscles.
Honestly, like I remember getting it, and it was on clearance. I know why now. But anyway, so the girl I was dating had very, very recently broken up with a senior. And we were out walking around trick-or-treating, and he pulled up in his truck because he had a car, and his buddy was in the truck. And you know, they started yelling at her and then yelling at me because now she's like dating me a few weeks after breaking up with him. And I was just in my head like, I cannot defend myself right now. Like I'm a punching bag. Like I can't move.
Yeah, be soft on the knuckles.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just like, you know, I'm potentially about to just get beat up and have no motion whatsoever. And luckily it didn't come to that. But after that moment, like I never... It was like Halloween sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But later on, I as we've been doing a lot of stuff in Salem for the past few years, I've really grown to love it and really kind of like enjoy it. And Shelby, my girlfriend now, absolutely loves it. So that kind of came off onto me too. So now I very much enjoy it. But yeah, there was a good chunk of years there where I was just like, nah.
Yeah.
I'll just stay and play my guitar.
Yeah. I think it has, I was saying outside, like there's so much room for creativity in like dark, you know, this kind of dark, it's like a spooky kind of time. You know, I think there's a lot of creativity in that.
Can you think of any costumes that were handmade that really stuck out to you?
One person was Nicolas Cage's character from Mandy at the last party we were at. From the scene when he's like on top of
that was
the dryer and like drinking vodka and like getting really drunk and revved up for his revenge, and that was pretty good. That was good. That was like one of the more deep cut, you know, ones. But there were such great ones. Our friend Jax was like an awesome.
Oh, the skeleton.
Was that supposed to be Jack Skellington? And she was Jack's skeleton.
Oh,
I
that
hope
would be
so.
a good
But she was like
reference,
this
yeah.
really cool, and the makeup was phenomenal.
Hmm.
I saw someone as the Joker today from like the more recent Joaquin Phoenix Joker.
Oh,
Same makeup
interesting.
and everything. She looked great.
Hmm.
It was cool. Yeah. What
I,
about
I remember making. This is going back to maybe early middle school. I think I made a Ninja Turtle one, and I was so pumped because I didn't know what I was going to do for the shell,
Mm-hmm.
and I had this old sled.
Mm.
Have you ever seen those sleds that are like bowls?
Oh,
Yeah.
Do you remember
Yeah.
those? That was my shell, and I was
Oh,
like, I was
smart.
so pumped that like this is a shell.
Yeah.
This is a perfect shell, and it has the hoops
Yeah. So you can put your arms through
that
it.
you hold on, but you can put your arms through them,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really perfect.
Yeah, that's great. Indiana Jones and the boulder and sail.
Oh yeah, the dog was, I believe it was a dog, was the boulder,
Oh, nice.
and he was Indiana Jones, and those definitely looked handmade, and they were fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, it's another in Salem, like the costumes that come out. It's funny you brought up the Power Rangers. There was a Green Ranger and Pink Ranger together,
Awesome.
and they were like real.
Legit. Yeah.
They were like, there's a lot of Comic-Con, like the Ghostbusters. There's a lot they have the full packs. There's like real Comic-Con, like people who probably spend a year making their costume for
Yeah.
it.
Or a lot buying it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shelby said it was a lady.
Oh,
It
it was a
the
lady.
huge boulder.
Yeah, I didn't see it. She saw it.
Oh,
I
cool.
didn't get to see it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Princess Star Wars was a fun
Oh,
one.
Kaylee was
Oh,
one
my-
year.
It was
Sally.
me as Sally as Princess Leia, but she was just Princess Star Wars, and I had actual cinnamon buns like on my head.
That's kind of cool. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was creepy.
They were real cinnamon buns?
Yeah, my hair was so sticky.
Oh,
afterwards.
It was
Jesus.
disgusting. I
Yeah.
ate some of them. They
Yeah, as
were
the night
wicked
went on,
good.
you started eating.
Yeah, it was really good. But yeah, so that was really cool. That was really fun. I think that was one of the first years in a long time I dressed up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really nervous.
You were a clown.
I was a clown.
Yeah.
And it was it was
There's a hilarious picture of us from that
Yeah.
night too.
I was pretty nervous, but then I think that was the start of me like really starting to kind of enjoy
Yeah.
Halloween. Even though I'm kind of a curmudgeon about it, it's kind of like I'm a curmudgeon with it, but I enjoy almost every aspect of it.
Mhm.
If it were in the Taylor Happy Halloween, if it were in Happy Halloween, I don't know if I even said
Yeah,
that to
Happy
people.
Happy Halloween.
And if you folks also, if anybody saw some really cool costumes, pop it in.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure Taylor might have seen a bunch at the school.
Can you put pictures in the chat?
I don't know. That's a great
That's
question.
interesting. If you
That
got
would be-
pictures of cool Halloween costumes, put them in the chat.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
if that's possible. Yeah, no, it was and where was I forget where I was on that. On that whole thing. But no, yeah, there's some really fun ones. So yeah, there's like there's creativity in your costume making, and I wonder if that's how some people kind of fall in love with like becoming actual like costume, for like
Yeah, I
film,
bet if you
that.
see some of the stuff, like I don't know if you've ever had a chance to like look at some Comic-Con stuff, but these
Oh,
people
yeah,
make
yeah.
their costumes
Yeah.
and they look unbelievable. They look like they could be in a movie.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, they look unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like you've got some echo on. Let me
Oh, I do? Abel has some cool echo going on. Oh, cool. I got effects. Not anymore. It's because it's Halloween. We're doing our best.
All better. Thanks,
yeah,
Taylor.
I hope it was
Hey, Taylor.
thanks, Taylor. I hope
Sorry I
it
didn't
wasn't,
make the party. I really wanted to.
Yeah, that's where we saw some
I
fun
was very
stuff.
sad about that.
Cool, that's good. Yeah, one thing I like also is like especially like group costumes, things like that. I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah, we made all our costumes.
Oh yeah,
Last
the
year.
Jaws
We were
one.
Jaws. I was
Yeah.
Quint.
Yep.
You were the chief.
Mhm.
Shelby was the shark,
Yep.
and you were Richard Dreyfuss.
Yep.
Uh,
Hooper.
Hooper.
Yeah.
You were Hooper. Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah. And then you guys have always made your costumes because you guys were triple dribble.
Triple Gribble.
Gribble, triple Gribble.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, we
from-
were all Dale Gribble. Kaylee.
Somebody was
Shelby,
talking
and I.
about that at the party.
Oh really?
Yeah, oh, I think it was Judd. Remember, he was like, "Remember, you guys were all Dale."
Oh nice. Yeah.
Remember who we were
Yeah.
talking to?
Yeah, we were all Dale Gribble, which is a really easy costume.
That was great.
That was good because that was what's up, Jamar? That was a good one
up, Jamar?
because we were also we looked like truckers and Trump had just been elected. So a
and
lot,
the Mac hat
the
almost
Mac
looked
hat.
like a MAGA.
Yeah,
thing, or-
it was
Ugh.
fluorescent orange, but a lot of people thought we were like Trumpers, I guess. I don't
Really?
know. Yeah.
Mhm.
I
We
wouldn't
got
think that.
really like people really hostile at first coming up to us, like, "What are you supposed to be?" We're like, "We're all Dale Gribble."
You know, yeah,
They're
yeah.
like,
Well,
"Oh,
you know,
okay."
sensitive times.
Yeah.
It was funny.
But no, it was an interesting an interesting thing, like kind of falling back in love with it like I was as a kid. Of course, like the candy, all that stuff was pretty awesome as a kid. But yeah, I really like also I was telling you, John, and I think there are tons of different genre of Halloween films, but my favorite are especially those. I'm not wild about gore, but everybody has their own thresholds. But like practical effects,
Practical effects.
I think about The Thing, the movie
The
The Thing.
Oh,
Awesome.
yeah.
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. I mean,
Mhm.
it's art. There's
It's
art.
amazing,
There's
yeah.
art there, and thinking of different ways to do that, like different things to use, like the experimentation for all that.
Yeah.
Almost reminds me, when I'm thinking about it, maybe like a Foley stage, like
Mhm.
what things make this noise
Mm.
or a
Yeah.
noise like this.
Mm.
I remember in like one of the film classes, they said a lot of times for like rain and stuff, they use bacon sizzling.
Yeah, stuff like
Oh,
that.
interesting. For sound effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, sound effects are interesting. They're completely different. That like all those. It was really funny. I forget what I was watching, but there's like a famous like car like crash sound effects that is in like most movies. Like
Hmm.
whenever a car
yeah.
crashes, it's like the same sound bite.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's
It's
funny
interesting.
too because maybe like an actual car crash doesn't sound like that.
I know.
You know what I mean? Or like, no, it doesn't sound as real as.
Oh, it
a
doesn't. No,
couple of
because you hear
cans bashed
glass.
together,
Yeah, you hear
know?
like glass breaking and all
Right.
this stuff, and then a real car crash is just like a big boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also, think of like for horror movies, like gross, disgusting sound noises, like for stabbing or for like
Mhm.
guts and stuff. You know what I mean? That must also kind of be fun. Like,
I think it's really funny at like because I'm assuming you have to try them out first.
Mhm.
So like the cleanup is probably
yeah.
like 10 times longer than actually making the thing
Yeah.
right?
because you got to make it and then clean it up and then you got to make it all over again.
Yeah.
Hope it goes the same way.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't the Jurassic Park? Isn't that like a Chihuahua or something? The
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like a
yeah.
mixture of a Chihuahua and a lion's
The-
roar, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the raptors are dolphins.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
That
cool.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
The raptors are dolphins. I think
Yeah.
that the brachiosauruses are like cows.
Okay.
Oh,
Um,
yep.
I could
Yeah.
see that.
The
Yeah.
original Halloween, the score and the sound effects are what kept you scared through it. Like,
Oh,
even though
yeah.
it was low budget.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That was
Definitely.
all like the atmosphere and stuff is what really did it for that, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the music, right? The
Mm-hmm.
compositions for those, they're extremely memorable.
They're
Mhm.
Yeah.
well done too. They're really well
I
done.
always find that so weird nowadays where like it's very rare to like you think back to like your childhood and a lot of the especially like the spookier side of even something like ET or something, the scores were so memorable.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
as soon as you heard the first note, you knew what it was. And now I can't think of any movies where the score is like really sets the mood for the film.
For horror, it's tough. Maybe. Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
But even like Friday the 13th, Jason, Halloween, especially,
they had
know,
like that was like 80s too. There was like synth
synthy
and
stuff.
stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yep.
Yeah. You just don't get that now. It's like not
Yeah.
important to a lot of directors nowadays for whatever reason.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, yeah, 70s too. I mean, there was a lot of my one movie that I was scared immediately, and there wasn't any kind of horror involved, was Rosemary's Baby.
Mm-hmm.
The intro of Rosemary's Baby, it's just a sky view of of like a city, of like a very gothic portion of a city. I think it might have been Philadelphia. I can't remember. Or it could have been somewhere completely different. But and it's just the song, like the theme song from the score, and the song is so creepy, and these buildings, and it's such a slow shot during the day that I was immediately. And there are no like flash scares in the movie. You know, it's a very unsettling movie as it goes on, but I was scared through most of it.
It was set in New York,
It was New York. Wow.
but it was filmed in Los Angeles.
Interesting. Really
Yeah.
interesting. The intro, it's just a shot of buildings, and like the song, which sounds like the song itself is like cursed. Like I feel like I was cursed just watching it. And really, really, really crazy. Taylor said necessity breeds creativity. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. On a low budget movie, you're looking for ways to
Like compensate.
to compensate for the fact that you're doing a low budget movie, and something like a score and a good sound effects track and some good practical effects, I think could go way farther than trying to have the best cameras and the best lenses and I can think of plenty of movies that were filmed with very low budgets that scores made it, soundtracks made
Right.
it.
Mhm.
Tons of them.
Right. Right.
It's probably some of the most important, and acting probably too, but like it could go either way. It could go like really bad or really good, and it could still be enjoyable,
Mhm.
Or that, I mean, it goes all the way back, like to every part. Even directing, like you can have some low budget actors, some actors that aren't as, but if the writing and the directing of these actors is appropriate enough in the shots, you could have a gangbuster of a movie.
Going back to the scores, I was trying to think like what are some modern stuff that I've actually heard scores that are very memorable.
There Will Be Blood is one.
There Will Be Blood is definitely one. I think the Mandalorian score is actually pretty unbelievable.
Yeah,
and
which makes sense.
remember Raised by Wolves?
Oh,
was it Raised by Wolves? Yeah.
That's sci-fi.
Yeah, I thought the intro of that, I was
so
like,
good.
this is
That song
missing.
is awesome. They actually have that song looped for like
I know
an hour on YouTube.
Yeah,
and it's a really
it's so
banging
good
song. Yeah,
it,
and that
it
show
just
is,
makes
I like it a
like
lot.
it puts you, like, I remember when I first put that on, it puts you right in the mood, like for that film, for that show.
Yep.
It was just unbelievable, and I feel like it's so rare to find that nowadays.
It's not as easy. That's absolutely true.
I think True Grit has one of the best like movie scores too.
Yeah.
That was like 2010, but
I don't think I ever saw it.
Oh, that's great.
man.
That's
good?
really good.
It's
It's Coen
so
Brothers. Yeah.
good.
Scores.
Oh, True Grit. Oh, yeah.
Mhm. The
Oh, I
remake
did see
of
that.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
I can't recall the score.
Justin
Interesting.
said Gladiator.
So good.
I could see that, and I think I watched Gladiator recently, and definitely.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah.
Jamar also said Tales from the Crypt. That's one.
Oh,
Yeah.
But that's an older one. That goes back to like it seems like they only did that kind of like up through the 90s. They were making scores that you just couldn't forget. But
Goosebumps, same thing.
Goosebumps.
90s,
I mean, like
remember
a low budget TV show.
Yeah.
For kids on Saturday, or I guess it was at night. Was it a night show?
Weekdays.
It was weekdays.
Yeah.
Weekdays at night. And you'll never forget that.
Yeah, no way. I mean, I remember that over, and given I didn't watch Are You Afraid of the Dark as much, but I remember Goosebumps intro music. Like I could recite the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
You know. Yeah, excellent. Really, really good.
I bought a not the sidetrack, but I actually got a Goosebumps skateboard.
Oh,
I bought it at like one of the vintage vendors.
Whoa.
It was like $20. And it's like a penny board.
Wow,
It's really, really cool. I can't wait to hang it up in the
that's
space.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Goosebumps was really good, and I think
Mhm.
but within that ether too, like scores, you know what I mean? Like that the jingle I did, and for
Yeah, it
those
was
who
great.
for those who
Mhm.
didn't listen to the jingle, we'll play it again at the end. But
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, Connor made a great jingle.
yeah, and
Variation of the regular jingle.
it's yeah, right.
Mhm.
And I think it's always been easier for me to write like darker sounding things. And for
Mm.
those who play music, and even those who maybe like watch things, you know, sometimes we tend to lean towards scary movies or scary things or kind of darker sounding things. And some people don't. They do like more happy, cheerful stuff. But I really find like all kinds of fun little
Mm.
creepy, eerie, you know, tunes.
The
Mhm.
Misfits.
You know what I mean? What's that? Oh, the band?
The Misfits, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they were all their stuff was
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
really, really cool, like Halloweeny sounding punk rock.
Oh, yeah. The
Yeah.
Cramps also.
Yep.
The Cramps were like, yeah. Shelby said, yeah.
And
Dancing.
Dancing.
Yep.
There you go.
Make it the regular jingle jangle. Oh yeah, we're not gonna change it. Don't worry.
Hmm.
Yeah, the new one is just like a Halloween thing I tossed together last night. But I did it quick. You know, it was like really fun, really easy. I also am starting to fall in love with like making jingles. But yeah, I don't know.
You're
Somewhere in
very
that dark,
good. You're awesome at it.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's thanks. Yeah.
Wasn't there that what was that show? Wasn't there a show that was based around someone who just made jingles? What was that show?
Was there?
That sounds familiar, but I can't.
I feel like there was a show
couldn't
based
remember
around someone
exactly.
who that was their living. They made jingles.
I mean, that'd be an amazing
TV
living.
show.
That'd be
Jingle.
good. That and like voiceover work.
I think it was
you-
popular.
Yeah.
The show.
If
I
you
don't
could-
think it was very good, but 2.5 Men. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen. Yeah.
Oh, he wrote jingles. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, on the
I mean,
piano. Yeah.
And that movie about a boy. I think the main character, his father had wrote a Christmas jingle,
Oh,
and he
yep.
was living off the royalties.
They
of
made a
that.
movie of that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's good. Yeah.
read the book.
Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
It was a great
it's-
book.
Yeah, the movie was good too.
comparable. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
good.
really liked the book. It was the same guy that did wrote High Fidelity, I
Fidelity,
believe.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
I gotta get back. I used to love those books. That's
oh, you.
I read them in high school, I think, but I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
loving them.
We were giving them, and
I gotta give them
sophomore.
another read.
Good. Yeah. Oh, you'll like the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see High Fidelity movie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
really good. I
Yeah.
thought that was well done.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was very campy, very like just fun.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think.
Oh, that's funny. The writer Nick, is that his name? Nick Hornby.
Nick Hornby. Yep.
He's also a lyricist.
Really.
So
I believe
some
it.
of that like comes from his,
What does
Well-
that mean? A lyricist? What did he write?
I wish I was a
writer
lyricist.
and lyricist.
Does that mean he writes lyrics for other people?
Person who writes words to a popular song or musical.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
So I wonder what his credits are. I wonder if there's anything.
Yeah, he might
Yeah.
do like might do things for from
The Misfits. No.
Danny Elfman, stuff like that. Yeah. But I was I was really having fun with that. But also like, you think about different bands that you might like, and
I can see like I feel like it's not considered important right now, like to make sort of music that sets a mood for like a movie or a TV show, even though a jingle. But I'm
Yep.
thinking on like a grander scale. Like, wouldn't it be cool to be in a band that what the band did, or just even being a solo artist, was like create sort of like hypothetical or like fake themes for like a movie
Mm.
or a show, but
Yeah.
like each thing would be completely different.
right.
But like I feel like it's sort of a lost art
Yeah.
nowadays. Like you
Yeah.
think of like the theme song to like I mean it's like Danny Elfman. I mean, but you think of like E.T., Jurassic Park, or like those things, like, man, you could hear just a couple notes of that and it just puts you in a time and a place and a mood. It like brings you back to a different time in your life.
Yeah.
And I feel like nothing is made like that anymore.
The
And
movies you've mentioned too are all range from low budget
yeah,
to high budget,
yeah,
right? Isn't that
Yeah.
wild too?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
yeah, and it's crazy. And I just wonder if there's like sort of a path to that, maybe a resurgence that needs to happen
Yeah. Yeah.
with people really dedicating. And I feel like I can see it being very liberating
mhm.
because I feel like if you're like a modern musician, especially now in a time where like music is so easily accessible,
Mhm.
that everyone just is sort of like trying to like get it on top. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And everyone's
Mm.
creating stuff that are like got to make it like punchy, got to make it like groovy, got to make it
Mhm.
like. But instead, if you like just separated yourself from that and was just, I'm gonna make like sort of something that really embodies a mood
Yeah.
that you might
Yeah.
feel, that is sort of away from all that.
Yeah.
Um,
A movie that comes to mind for that and uses horror elements, definitely inspired by other horror movies, is Drive.
Oh,
The
yeah.
movie Drive. It was like the music, especially. I mean, there
but
was
was that
scenes and
was that music made for that movie, or was that music just bands
no, that was there's a score to that movie
that
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. But there were other parts in it that had like the scene where he drowned the guy at the sea. Ron Perlman, when he killed Ron Perlman, and
Oh,
he was
yeah.
wearing the mask. That was all, and he was even wearing the mask. He looked like Michael Myers
Yeah.
from I just blanked on the
Halloween.
Halloween. But the music and the score at a lot of times was very much like that. I think it
Mm.
was also very similar sounding to the movie Thief.
Mhm.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
definitely
So, like,
inspiration. Very cool.
but you find these awesome, but it worked for the movie. It was a lot of it was the score, and
Mhm.
then the songs they did pick, I thought were perfect for the mood of the movie.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So there's also there's the score, and then there's picks of like the actual
The
soundtrack,
soundtrack,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's
Angelo Badalamenti
yeah.
did a lot of the David Lynch like
Oh,
films
really?
and stuff. He's great, but he just passed away like last year.
Oh, it's
That's
too bad.
right.
But he was crazy with setting like mood to things, like
Yeah,
things
like really
really,
like mood songs, things
Mhm.
that really got you feeling a certain way. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. I think There Will Be Blood, wasn't that the guitarist from Radiohead?
I think I remember reading something like that. That
I
sounds
think it
really
was.
familiar.
Yeah. What's his name?
I cannot remember.
John. I think it's like
Johnny Greenwood.
Johnny Greenwood. Yeah, that's right. I knew it was like Johnny something.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah,
yeah.
I think I remember reading that. Yeah, that's I mean, there's a score. It's actually got like this high pitch, like odd kind of abstract like vocals, like high pitched kind of like tone to certain scenes. The Shining had it in the beginning.
Mm.
It had like these multiple scary like women kind of like ghostly noises. Like
Mhm.
again, it was actually a gorgeous scene of a car going through in the beginning of The Shining, of a car going through like the hills,
Mhm.
and it was gorgeous. But I was terrified because of the music that was being played, like and the score there, you know.
Mhm.
And I remember the tune. No, 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 no,
Mhm.
no.
Oh,
Like I
so
remember that
daunting.
so well.
Yeah.
You know, and it's those things that just really stick to you. And there are plenty of other movies that have, you mentioned Jurassic Park, but I mean, I think the ones that I could remember the most would probably be mostly horror movies, you know.
Mm.
I remember Poltergeist having like a very not scary kind of score. It was more of like a Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was like this shimmering
Mm.
to these things, and it was very much like a Jurassic Park, like paranormal Jurassic Park. You know, it was like this with the investigation of the ghosts and like, you know, I don't know. It was.
I mean,
such a fun
think
movie.
about Jaws.
Oh, yeah.
That was the
Mhm.
score.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You even think it's almost
Yep.
a sound effect. Doo-doo,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, yeah,
That
right.
that's the score.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy. I don't know. I feel like there's like this room for
Auditory
a
sensation.
a
Yeah,
band to create this sort of fusion music that or like an artist to create this fusion music that like each song sort of is very very focused on creating a mood but can also be a song. And I think of like some sort of like what's I forget the name of the song, but what's it I put a spell on you.
Oh yeah, yep.
Oh yeah,
Dum,
I
Screaming
think
Jay
dum.
Hawkins.
Yeah, yep, Screaming Jay Hawkins. Yep, that's
Mhm.
right. And I just think of something like that where like, man, you're in that world as soon as an instrument, as soon as a note gets played, you're in
Yeah.
that world.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's a space for that. And I feel like I don't know that it's all that tapped.
I think you're right there, or at least it's not looked into, sought after anymore as much.
Yeah.
Um,
But even outside of like it actually being a theme to a movie, like it actually being sort of a band's identity or an artist's identity,
yeah,
and creating music that each song really paints like a very specific mood.
Mhm.
The things I've experienced with that would be bands like Tangerine Dream, synth based bands like from like the 70s that
Mhm.
really got jammy is not the right word. It wasn't jam. It was like orchestrated synth, and the moods that you get from synthesizers range. Like you can
Yeah,
have
because
more
they can
happy.
have so many more colors, right?
Mm.
Their
Exactly, and
sounds can
especially the
be
old
so
ones.
much more unique.
Right. And so when you think of a band like Tangerine Dream, I imagine a show like that. Like
Mm.
I am ignorant to them to the point of like whether they played out. I don't know if they were just recording artists or if it'd be awesome if I'm sure they played shows, but
Probably crazy shows,
must
very
be
theatrical.
such an awesome show. Like just lights and this brilliant sound
Mm.
of
They're
these.
playing in the UK on Sunday.
Really?
Let's
Yeah.
go.
They're still cooking?
I guess so. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. I would totally go to that. Yeah, there was like such fun things. Yeah, if anybody, they actually did the score to Thief. Tangerine Dream did, and so to me, they are a good example of something kind of like that. You know what I mean? Where maybe around Halloween they'd have more like dooming kind of like shows or soundscapes
Mhm.
to create this like auditory psychosphere. I think
Mm.
that's such a cool idea. And I that could also be almost a background thing. What if like the house band, like what if you get a band that's just nice music in the background for something, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
That people can talk over.
Mood setting
Mood
band.
based.
Oh, maybe that could be
Yeah.
one of our bands.
Yeah.
Have we done that? Have we
Ooh.
done that? The band? Well, we got to do that.
That's a topic. Yeah, different
Yeah.
types
Oh, we
of
talked about it briefly on one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Mm.
that's something.
Maybe that could be one of our bands.
Yeah.
We'll have to think of a good slogan.
That might
Yeah,
be
that'd
that
be
might be
good.
good for We'll wait till you come back for that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the next couple weeks. John Abel will be in New York, right?
Yep. I'll be going.
What will you be doing?
Just I got markets selling my artwork, the record art. I do November and December. I'm in New York City, just basically at a market that is every single day at Union Square. And there'll be other markets going. Shelby will be doing the Snowport market, and Kaylee is doing the SOA market.
Mhm.
But I have to, go away. So we've been trying to think of ideas of how I can Skype in. It
Mhm.
might be we don't know what we're doing yet, but
Hope
there's
it's good.
potential that it will be. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't think Skype's a thing anymore. Is it?
It still is, kind
Is it?
Yeah.
Or whatever way,
It's
Zoom
surviving.
in.
Mhm.
But
And we'll also welcome guests during the next
yeah,
couple weeks if anybody wants to.
Yeah, if
Be
someone
a
would like
guest.
to guest
Sit with
on
us.
fill in for Abel on Tuesday around 7:30.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy.
Submit your resume via YouTube chat.
Yeah, absolutely. No, anybody who would like to, that'd be cool. Yeah, and I think are we still doing okay on time?
I think so. 40 minutes.
40 minutes. That's pretty good. We can keep going, I think, for a
Hmm.
little bit.
Yeah.
Well, if you haven't been here this whole time and are just joining or joined recently, this is Spilling
Shelby,
the
I'll do that
Beans.
instead of Snowpiercer.
I'll do that instead of Snowport. No, no, no. No, no, no.
Can only talk. Justin says if he is on, he can only talk about bad anime and sci-fi. Well, that is just
That
fine.
sounds
That would be
great.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
I love sci-fi. I'm a big sci-fi comic book guy. I love sci-fi comics.
Yeah.
Like old. Most of them are public domain. But I absolutely love that. That'd be cool to see.
Well,
I could be a spectator and watch you guys talk about
Yeah.
sci-fi. That'd be
Oh,
great.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jamara and Justin have got me into anime. Have like pushed. a lot.
I have
Mm.
some anime, mostly comics. I don't, I haven't watched any
Manga.
shows really. Manga, or,
yeah.
yeah, but I don't know. Like Akira was something I watched.
Cool.
I mean, I read. I got pretty far into it, but it's about as close as I get. Mostly comics, but I can't. And then films, obviously, Alien is like my personal, probably my favorite movie, if not very close to my favorite movie.
Well, cool. I think we can at least temporarily fill your boots. And
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
enjoy it. You just actually reminded me. I have this great comic book called Smashed. Now it's a manga we were just talking about, and basically,
Starship Troopers.
oh yeah, we'll
Love
save
it.
we'll save
It's
that.
great.
We'll save that for that.
Never
That-
seen the
that
sequels. I
one's-
wonder what those are.
I don't- Anyways,
Does he watch
First,
Stargate?
the
He
first
talks about Stargate.
Starship Troopers.
Stargate. Oh, that was a horror.
So that was sci-fi.
Would you say that's a horror? You know what I mean? Like,
No,
there's
I call
that,
it
that's
sci-fi.
a good question. Like, what's because Alien, I would say, is a horror.
Mm.
The first Alien,
Mm.
But it's also definitely a sci-fi.
Mm.
Aliens, I think, is scary.
To me, that's an action movie.
It's a sci-fi.
I would consider.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's a-
I would consider.
it's a
I would.
sci-fi, and
I would
it's scary.
consider Alien sci-fi horror, and I would consider Alien sci-fi action
horror.
B movie horseshit.
No way. We'll get into sequels too. That'd be a great. That'd
Starship
be a great one.
Troopers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
First boobies I ever saw.
Oh
were on that
wow.
I've
movie.
never seen it.
Yeah, there's some nudity in there. I remember being young and seeing that too, and getting all giddy.
Mhm.
Starship Troopers. See, and as a kid, I would have called that a horror movie.
Starship Troopers really is very.
There's a ton of
I
body
mean-
horror, like those things chop people in half, and
Yeah, they do.
You
Okay.
know,
You,
there's
you
a-
know what else? You know what else? Connoisseur.
Carnosaur. Yeah, that was. See, that
I
would be a
remember
horror
that,
movie,
like,
and
I'll
that's,
never
kinda
forget
sci-fi.
I'll never forget. It probably looks terrible now, but as a kid, I remember watching
was scared.
Connoisseur. Like, I love Jurassic Park Connoisseur. And I just remember the raptors like ripping that girl's arms off.
Yes. Yep.
And like it just shows it.
Yeah.
And I
yeah.
was like, oh my
mom
God.
got it for me, and we were gonna have like a mom and son night.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, can we get this movie Carnosaur? She's like, I don't know, it's rated R, but and I was like, all right, well, I was like, it's supposed to be like about dinosaurs, and she figured same thing. Like,
Yeah.
Jurassic Park is the same thing, and like the first scene is a naked woman, getting ripped apart by two raptors, and she said, well, let's watch something, and I was disturbed. I was a kid, so I was like, I was traumatized by it, like momentarily. I was like, what are we? I think I started crying like immediately, and she like turned it off. But yeah, that was definitely like a sci-fi horror. Dog Soldiers.
know
Justin
that
just
one.
mentioned that is
That's
a very
awesome.
fun, not great, like kind of werewolf movie. Where the
Ooh,
dog.
that's up your alley. You love werewolves.
I do like werewolves. I think they're really, really cool. I'm all for like a good werewolf movie, even if it's bad. But
Teen Wolf.
I want no.
This is
No,
like
I
a-
mean
Michael J.
Teen Wolf.
Fox?
I
Come on.
was fun when I was a kid, but I really like cool looking werewolves, and if it's done really well. There was a Marvel movie that came out recently that involved Man-Thing. It was called
What?
Night of the Werewolf. That was really good.
It's so weird that those movies, like, now they're coming out and I don't even know.
Well, that wasn't. I don't think that, and it wasn't their most popular because it wasn't like It just I don't think it was as popular. It might have
Yeah.
been popular, but that was really good.
A Man Thing movie would be amazing.
Man Thing was in it. He was
in it?
Yeah, really cool.
Are you kidding?
No, you need to watch it. Yeah.
See, that's the stuff I like.
And it's
Like-
definitely more of a horror like based kind of like Marvel movie, definitely, but it's good. Yeah, that was pretty fun. It was like a Midnight Mansion.
What
kind of.
about that the Ritual one we saw with like the hiking trip? Remember that one?
What's that?
The Ritual. the
Oh,
horror
that's a great movie. Yeah,
Did you ever
so
watch that one?
I don't think so.
that's really good. So The Ritual is it's just one of these really good occult type, but definitely monster. Wait, was it a cult? No, it wasn't a cult movie. That was more like a monster flick, right?
Kind of, yeah, but there did seem to be some kind of like occult stuff going on because there was like tree monster.
Well, the
thing,
monster
like-
I think was technically supposed to be it was like a I can't even remember where it took place, but
it was in Sweden.
Sweden, that's right. So it was
Yeah.
like Sweden's type of Wendigo. It was like a
Yeah.
Wendigo,
Hmm.
but it was really cool, really good. It was also a great, it got pretty cerebral,
Mhm. was
with
like
morals,
psychological kind of like
psychological
horror
stuff
too,
going
yeah.
on.
It sounds like perfect. Sounds like something I would love because I'm like
Yeah.
my favorite genre, which is another thing I feel like is a lost art, is monster movies. Like I
Yeah.
feel like it doesn't happen anymore.
Nothing good.
Mhm.
I mean, there's a ton of them made, like Sharknado, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, but
Um,
the last
you know.
monster movie I saw that I thought was pretty good was Cloverfield. And
Cloverfield was
outside of
awesome.
that, like
Yeah.
I haven't. There was this Korean movie that I remember
Oh,
enjoying.
that was awesome.
Um,
Was it not Monster?
Parasite.
was it Parasite?
No, same director though, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, it
Um,
was the same director.
Same
yes,
director. Dang, that's gonna bother me.
that
I
is gonna
loved
bother
that
me.
movie.
It was really good,
Yes, it was. Yeah, that was
but we don't see
that was
monster
2000. That
movies
was
anymore.
2009. That movie came out or around
Yeah, it was
then.
a while ago.
Um,
Cloverfield might have been around that
a little
time
later.
too.
Snowpiercer.
No,
No.
No.
That
Okja.
no.
no.
I wanted to see Okja though, but yeah, no, a good monster movie. I can't. If anybody has one that they can think of that was good. Oh, and Justin said that
Oh.
other Marvel movie was overshadowed by Moon Knight.
Mm.
Yeah,
I also remember really enjoying this movie called Troll Hunters.
yeah, that was great. Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah, that was good. That was like a mockumentary.
It was
type.
like a
Yep.
mockumentary
Yep.
monster movie type thing. Yeah.
Was it The Host?
Yes,
The Host.
Host.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. It was,
That was
yeah,
it.
it was great.
That was a really good monster
Yeah.
movie.
It was really bad CGI, but it was outside of that. It was a good movie.
It was bad CGI, but it was also. It was like, I thought some of it was pretty good. Like
Some of it was pretty good, and some of it it just looked like a
was-
Marshmallow Man thing.
Yeah, it was terrifying. Some scenes of it. It's just I'd never seen a movie show like this realism
Yeah.
to like a monster attack, like on like in the middle of a day.
Like in the
you
middle
know?
of the day,
Yeah,
right? It's always
at, a
like
park.
night and raining.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah. I remember being like, this is cool. Like, why has no one done this before?
That was really, really well
Probably
done.
because it's hard with CGI to make it look real if you have proper light exposure.
Yeah, yeah.
And duller, that's why they did Jurassic Park the way they did.
Utilize certain pieces.
utilize. Yeah.
to go between
Yeah.
maybe puppet or animatronic and CGI.
It's always nighttime
yeah.
when you see the dinosaurs.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Outside of, I guess, outside of inside the whatever you call it, observatory or whatever it is.
Yeah, right. One movie, I think you liked it too. That was Spielberg too. That crosses in between horror and sci-fi. Actually, definitely, because it was the original was aired on broadcasts, years ago on Halloween. It was War of the Worlds.
Oh,
I
love the
actually
book.
liked the more recent
I remember really enjoying the
Tom Cruise one.
Yeah, I remember really liking the special effects. I thought they were really good. I felt like the movie, like the whole storyline kind of didn't do it for me that much.
Yeah.
But I do remember really enjoying just what the creatures looked like. I
It
thought
held
I
up.
thought
It was
cool.
good. Yeah, the creature feature was cool. It
Yeah.
even showed aliens, which I didn't think looked too cheesy. They were
Yeah.
cool. But I thought it was good. The shots were interesting.
I actually
The
think
noise that those things made was you
cool.
hear a lot now in like
Yeah.
Godzilla type movies.
Yeah.
Those are good monster movies, but those aren't like horror monster movies.
No,
I'd say,
in
like,
general,
Kong
like
and
honestly, it never really mattered to me whether it was that though.
Yeah.
Like I enjoyed a Godzilla movie. I enjoyed.
Well, I'd say those
you
are
know,
pretty good. Those are like some pretty good newer monster
Yeah.
movies. Annihilation, I'd say had some really
Ooh.
cool monsters.
Oh
in it.
man,
Yeah,
oh man,
The bear
definitely.
the bear
was
thing was like
one of the scariest.
one of the
Oh,
scariest
Shelby,
things.
great. The Void,
The Void.
that
Never
is
seen that one.
phenomenal. I saw that a couple years ago. That was really good.
There was a movie.
Very Lovecraftian.
There was a movie. It was a made-for-TV movie. Had to do with like a Shark Man. It might have even been called Shark Man. And it was really corny. But the creature looked amazing, and it was all practical.
Cool. Yeah.
It was a made-for-TV movie. I believe it came out around Jurassic Park. I believe they were like really hopping on that sort of.
This
Uh,
guy, is it?
No, all right. I don't think it's Shark Man.
Jeez, that looked.
It was a made-for-TV movie. It might have been called Creature.
Oh, okay.
But
Oh, I think on one of my
I think we need to
sci-fi
watch that.
fans, it's fan sites. I think I saw someone put up
It looks
Creature.
unbelievable.
Yeah, I didn't look into it at all. The Fly. That's
the
Is it
Fly's a
Hammerhead?
classic. I don't think
No.
so. It was definitely like came out only on TV around Jurassic Park time.
Justin, I do remember the Sci-Fi Yeti movies. Those
Justin, do you know what movie I'm talking about?
it's a
the
show
shark.
though. Is it a show or a movie?
It was a made-for-TV movie.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
and
like.
it was like kind of hopping. I believe it was like.
Oh, I think you're right. It is Creature.
Is it Creature?
Oh no, that's a television miniseries.
I don't think it was a miniseries. I think it was a made-for-TV movie, but really incredible, practical puppeteering,
Yeah.
if you will. I've always loved puppeteering. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
always thought,
Yeah,
I always
looks
thought,
really
like,
good.
isn't it interesting how like much of a connection you can make with a puppet more so than you can with CGI?
Oh yeah.
I always thought
right, yeah.
like an ET, or even the Turtles,
Yep.
or like the Thing.
Even Alien, when that little
Alien,
alien pops out. and all that,
Alien.
Yeah.
And now like the CGI stuff that comes out, I feel like there's like something missing between like a sort of human to human bond. And I was thinking about this because so recently I did the Folk Fest. I was set up at the Newport Folk Fest, and I got pictures of Animal.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
the
I put them
puppet,
on the
yeah.
record. And the amount of people that are connecting with this, young, old, doesn't matter,
Yeah.
and it's a puppet. And I just feel like if you were in a room with Animal or Elmo or Oscar the Grouch
Yeah.
or whatever, like you would be compelled to talk to the damn puppet,
Yeah.
not the puppeteer.
Yeah. Right.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Yeah.
I always found that very bizarre. Like it's almost it feels so much more real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's so much
Absolutely.
like if like Big Bird, like you would have a conversation with this thing,
Mhm.
even though it's a puppet, and you know it's a puppet.
Right.
But there's a very human connection you make with practical, real effects and puppeteering.
Oh,
It
that
must
you-
be easy to act with them then. Yeah. I'd love to be on Sesame Street and like be talking to them like
Is it
like
that
for
one?
real.
I believe that's it.
And it's got the dad from Poltergeist in it.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
really?
That's
Yeah,
Creature.
What's the
this-
name? Is it Creature?
It's called Creature. It says it's like a short, like a made-for-TV like
It
series.
might be like
Oh, maybe
three.
it was
might
a
be like
series.
three.
maybe like the yeah.
It looks awesome. So folks, check out Creature. That looks really cool.
Oh,
Creature.
it was a mini series, so it was,
Was it
probably
a
like
miniseries?
long, like
Yeah.
kinda
Might be
how
like
they
two-parter,
released it
three-parter even.
originally.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
yeah.
it was a movie that they chopped up.
Yeah.
So
We-
it
Looks
was made for TV.
The original It was
Yeah,
made for
it was
TV.
made
Yeah,
for
and they
TV.
showed it. They
Oh.
like released
two
it in
parts.
like
I
parts.
think it was two parts. Yeah, a lot of Stephen King stuff was made for TV.
There was a lot.
So Langoliers. Did
Oh,
either of
yeah.
you see the
Yeah.
Langoliers? That is the absolute
saw it.
worst CGI. Like if you want to see like really excellently bad, like perfectly bad CGI, that looks like people like put work into. This is like, I think the early, I'd say that it was the early days of CGI, but it's like 12 years after Jurassic Park. And these things look like, the Langoliers look like these bowling balls with teeth. And it is just so good. What's great about the movie too, and which also is bred in a lot of horror movies, B-movie characters.
Mm.
Some of the most like quotable characters I have are from pretty B-movie, Stephen King movies,
Mm.
and these characters are just so silly. They must have been having a go when they wrote the script or when they filmed this.
Mm.
I am always curious, or did they think that was actually like a compelling anecdote that this character just made? But you get some awesome quotes and things like that. But watching these made for TV, low budget Stephen King, or there's tons of camp that then comes along with these cult followings and cult movies.
For sure.
Lots and lots of camp. So like you then start getting in between this shade of what's like good and what's good, or
Yeah,
you know
right.
what I mean, or what's
So bad
bad
it's
and what's
good.
so bad it's good.
Shark
Um,
creature that was in swamps.
Oh, in Quake.
Oh, and Quake, interesting. Yeah, I don't know that one.
Quake. The only thing I know of Quake is the video game.
Yeah, I think that's different. That's totally different. Evil Dead. Shelby mentioned
Yeah,
Evil Dead.
yeah, of
Mm.
course.
Oh,
That's the OG, like
Yeah.
real classic, defining all of cinema that came after it.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd love to see a good horror monster movie, and I'm sure there is one that I'm not thinking
The
of.
the most recent like monster movie that I can think of that I really loved was Cabin in the Woods. I thought that was.
Oh, but that's like
Oh,
2010,
yeah,
right?
That was good.
I think that's the most recent one I can think
Yeah.
of.
Yeah,
I-
that had such awesome. It had like almost every monster you could think
Yeah,
of.
it was
and it was so
it was
fun.
like
Yeah.
made for people who loved monster movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think another fun thing about these movies and especially in regards to creativity in a sense is this is like nobody owns the rights, I don't think, to werewolf or
No.
to vampire. You know what I
No,
mean?
no, no,
So
no.
you can tweak the origins, or like we watched recently.
If you call it Dracula, someone owns that.
Yeah, I bet, you know what I mean, right? Stuff like that. But we watched what was that movie with the show with the vampires?
Oh, Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass, yeah, and that had some really cool like origin story to like these kinds of creatures and stuff like that,
Mhm.
where I really enjoy that. I think that's why I like the werewolf movies too so much.
Mhm.
Shelby put Shadows ?
What we do in the shadows?
What we do in the
Oh,
shadows.
that was
Yeah.
that's mockumentary style.
Mm.
The movie, I love the movie, and I hear the show is just as good.
Mhm.
Yeah. show's great.
Um,
I was so you bringing up the point of sort of these mythological creatures sort of not being owned by anything.
you're right.
So there is because of that, there are so many comic books that were made from the 60s up through probably the 80s or so, that because originally when comic books kind of started, it wasn't about superheroes. It was more so about like sci-fi and horror.
Yeah, Tales from the
Yep. Tales of the Weird or
yeah,
whatever.
yep, there were a couple of them. Yeah, House of Horrors or something.
So all
Yeah,
that stuff has public domain.
right.
So like you can go and just download like all these comics
Mm.
that are all in public domain, but I think that the genre sort of has it's due for a resurgence.
Yeah,
I think everyone's
I'd agree.
I
Yeah.
feel like people are over the superhero stuff.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I think like it's like not not there's anything wrong with it, but I just think that it's like
Well, we're starting to see it a little bit. Like, what's the show that came out? The comic book that you started reading with Neil Gaiman and that I like.
The Sandman.
Sandman, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're
Yeah.
starting to get into those more darker elements, and I thought Sandman was great. That you have to see that Marvel movie. I was
I can't
talking
even
about.
believe, like, I can't even believe you're telling me right now that there's a movie that has Man-Thing in it.
It was really good. Man-Thing looked amazing too.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was really
that
good.
that got by me. Like, I feel like there was a time where, even a couple of years ago, where you couldn't even. I mean, there was no way to miss a Marvel movie,
Right.
and now, like, I don't even know. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned that too, with the early days of comics, with like, these horror elements and these mythological creatures. Moon Knight, I think one of the first issue of Moon Knight, was he was going up against the Wolfman.
Yeah, it was like a weird Tales thing.
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
and that's because those creatures are not.
Well, they were popular.
They're not
first off.
copywritten.
Right.
They're these myths that I don't even know how far back they go, but like, ultimately, like, probably if you would go back far enough, people back then probably thought they were real.
Sure.
Which is crazy that
you see,
the lore of the, if you're writing a comic, like, the lore of them traces back to eventually get to a point where, like, oh, people thought this stuff was actually real.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes from.
I think if you can tap into that too, you can really write something good.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing did it really good. Alan Moore did that. Like,
Yeah.
half of the early Alan Moore Swamp Thing issues, they were really, really scary.
Yeah,
they were
monsters.
Great. There were monsters
They're
in
the
them,
best
and they were
stuff.
horror
Probably the
issues.
best comics ever.
Yeah, they were definitely horror issues. Some of them even had like a Wolfman.
Yeah, it's such a lost art.
Yeah, and so I think that's a really, again, and it comes back to another reason for me to not dislike Halloween. I mean, there's so much creative and fun things that I love that are scary, that are spooky, but they're also super cool. Alien for me also probably top 5 for me.
Oh my god.
But it's scary. It's every time I watch it, I'm scared. I'm always scared.
Geiger's stuff.
H.R. Geiger is some scary art, but it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Really it's scary. It's sexual. It's embryonic. It's like, it's so crazy how someone thinks like that. Yeah. And can make something like that beautiful and scary at the same time. It's nuts.
It is, and it's kind of beautiful and scary at the same time. First movie that comes to mind, at least modern, is Midsommar.
Oh yeah,
that was a terrifying movie. The shots though were gorgeous.
Yeah,
and everything about it, the movie even, I thought was like really, really pretty.
And it was scarier because everything was so bright,
right?
As opposed to, like, I think we mentioned this. One of you guys mentioned it, like recently too. How, like, it's so much easier to, like, be scared of, like, the dark, but you wouldn't think of being as scared with, like, when something's so, like, bright and
out.
stuff.
There's comfort
really
to
is
sunlight.
more unsettling. And
I know.
Yeah.
Well, especially because psychedelics were involved. Now, when and so there was, like, almost like this claustrophobia to the light. Like, it was too much.
I've actually,
and the colors and the intensity.
It's interesting.
Scarier,
That movie was really particularly interesting to me because I've always hated, like, sort of a midday feeling.
Yeah.
Like, when the sun is at its highest point, like midday, it's like hot, sun's on you. That was my least favorite part of the day. Like, I like sunrise, I like sunset, I like nighttime, but I never really, like, enjoyed sort of the midday feeling. And that movie like sort of like connected that to me. I was like, this is the feeling I feel during, like, the midday, where, like, if I could sleep the midday and not sleep at night, like, I would.
Yeah.
Because it just feels like hot and sticky, and I feel trapped in a way when everything's at its brightest and at its peak.
Well, it's distracting.
It was, like, perfectly describing that for me.
Yeah, that's really good. It's disorienting. I mean, the bright day. Think about that too. Like, when you are looking into the dark, actually looking into the dark, your eyes will start
to adjust.
Without, well, they'll adjust, but without even psychedelics. With psychedelics, definitely. But like, you start to make shapes. Your mind starts to
Oh.
play with what it can, with the information that it can catch,
Mm.
and you start to see things that once you turn the lights on, it's obviously not that.
Mm.
You know, or is it? You know what I mean? And I think in that dark realm where you like, there's space, there's literal space, whereas the brightness of the day is like a distraction from that space almost. You know what I
Mm.
mean? You're getting all like, you're getting this intensity.
It's like
your
you're at
senses
the
are
peak.
overloaded.
Yeah, it's like you're at the peak of intensity of everything.
Yeah, so it's
Mhm.
harder even and then separate from that physical looking into something, go back in. You know what I mean? Darkness gives you visually and almost maybe even in your head this space.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know?
I think in some places too, don't they? Like that's the point of the day where you stop working and you take a break
Yeah.
and you go for
Yeah,
a
it
few
is.
hours and then you go back in like the early
Yeah,
evening
it's too
for a
intense.
few hours.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's too
yeah.
intense.
It's
Yeah.
it's the- and right. And so I think, at least for me, I get all kinds of stuff, creative ideas, and also just like visually, like if I'm trying to think of something at the they even say when you're drawing or painting or anything, never start, or it's not as easy to start on like just a complete blank, complete white canvas. A
Hmm.
lot of people will paint like a yellow kind of like
Mm.
mask or something over it to start, you know. And I think I could sympathize with that. But isn't that interesting how the dark, that's where a lot of this creativity is bred, you know?
Mm.
Where there's suffering kind of too. Sometimes people say they write best when they're depressed or when they're unhappy.
Yeah.
Like the best artwork comes out of that. You know,
Mm.
it's just an interesting thing. And I think that's also why like some of the best stuff that we listen to, watch, read, see, you know, it's scary. It's
Mm.
horror based. It comes from this darkness, which I think is like, but when you see a movie like Midsommar, which is actually very bright, it does have dark
It-
scenes, but it's
all of his movies have really like in Beau is Afraid. I was like,
it's tough to see
Oh,
that.
man,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
it
it's
was
tough to see
it was
that.
amazing to me how he could make a extremely like what would be a graphic like
Grisly kind of.
grisly death of someone be funny. I've
Mhm.
never seen that before. It blew my
Mhm.
mind. It was like, oh my god, there's like I don't know, like these very graphic visuals,
Mm.
Mhm.
but he did it in a way where they were funny.
It's so
Yeah.
absurd.
It's so
Yeah.
absurd.
Yeah, I
It's
have to
so
see it.
nuts.
I hear it's wild.
It's so nuts.
I love that. That's
Justin
really
brought
good.
up Invincible. That is so good.
Oh,
Invincible.
yeah. Really, really good. And Priest too. Justin, if you liked Priest, you would love that movie, that show we mentioned, Midnight Mass, if you haven't
Oh.
seen it already. That's a really great Halloweeny spooky movie if folks haven't seen it. Also, same director we just saw,
Oh, the House of Usher.
House of Usher, Fall of the House of Usher. That was fun. That was Edgar Allan Poe
Yeah.
stuff, which I love. I
Mhm.
grew up
fun.
with Edgar Allan Poe.
Mm.
We must be pushing an hour.
We're
Yeah.
over an hour.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
pushing it. I think
Well,
it's-
I'm
we can
having a
call it.
blast with it. But yeah, I think we'll call it.
Mhm.
Thank you all and happy Halloween.
We'll do a
Yeah.
Halloween in the summer episode.
Yeah,
next
that would
year.
be good.
Happy
Or we'll I
Halloween.
like this sci-fi thing, you know,
Mhm.
and some of our best stuff and most fun stuff we're discussing paranormal stuff.
Mm.
And yeah, definitely reach out to us about guest if you want to be a guest on here, guest
Yeah,
host,
come join us.
and
One of us.
Yep.
one of us, right? Yeah. And
Mhm.
we'll be doing this again next week. We'll see what we have.
Mhm.
And thank you all for joining. I have to hit unmute
Unmute,
on those.
yeah.
I will see you guys in a few weeks.
We will miss
I
you.
will see you guys at the beginning of the year. Unfortunately.
Well, we might
It's
be
Right
able
after
to-
Christmas. Yeah.
right
yeah.
after Christmas.
Oh, I
yeah.
can't wait. That's my favorite holiday, and that's going to be a really fun podcast. But
Yep.
Abel will be. We might be able to do at least a live stream kind of thing of his face.
We might be able
while
to
he's
we might
working.
be able to do a live stream in my booth while I'm selling in New York, and I'll try to do an earpiece so that I can like chime in and pop out. I don't know how technically
But yeah,
how technical that is, but maybe we can make it happen.
Or you could always be in the
Tuesdays
chat.
can be dead.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you could also be in the chat. Kaylee said, yeah, you could.
I could be
you
in
could,
chat.
You could do that. So that's cool.
I could be in
You
the
could do the
chat.
chat while we have at least a live feed of him without getting too
Just
technical.
selling my work to people.
There we go. Yeah,
It'd be cool.
be a good plug.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, happy Halloween, everyone.
Halloween,
Thank you for
kids.
listening and joining. Let me unmute that.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And then we'll outro the
good
beans.
God. It's an RA20 microphone you just dropped on the floor.
He's going out with a bang. All right.
Damn it. Hanging out on a scary night of the week. To be more specific, it's Halloween. We have some ideas, some tricks, some treats. So come along and join us. We'll be killing the
Ooh, spooky.